Welcome to Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston, PhD. Glenn has held his doctorate in psychology for more than 30 years and is also a former multi-million-dollar consultant to the big food industry and uses his experience to help you defeat your cravings. This show will help you to focus on dramatically reducing cravings and leave the diet mentality behind, so you can more easily and effortlessly achieve your health, fitness, and body composition goals. Please remember, no doctor-patient relationship is created via this show, and you are responsible for confirming any changes to your diet, health, or psychological routines with an appropriately licensed professional before implementing them. Now, before we get started, if you haven't yet downloaded the free smartphone app to access dozens of these recordings all in one place, as well as to avail yourself of a confidential community for support, motivation, and assistance, please visit the podcast link on defeatyourcravings.com as soon as possible. And now, here's your host, Dr. Glenn Livingston.
Well, hey, this is the very good Dr. Glenn Livingston, and I'm here with
Howard Jacobson of Plan Yourself and Sick to Fit.
All right. I want to talk to you today, Howie. There's an insight that I recalled, which I don't think I put in the book, and I don't think I've talked about much, but sometimes when I do that, I like to talk to you about it also because you have a different perspective.
Okay.
And I think this is a really important insight that was actually extremely helpful to me, and I can't believe that I left it out of the book. The insight is, if the pig had any power at all, it wouldn't talk at all. The very fact that the pig is talking is indicative of the fact that you're in control. Because if the pig didn't feel gelled, if it didn't feel like you were superior to it, why would it have to convince you at all? It would just take your hands in your mouth and your arms and your legs and go and get the slop. And this is an extraordinarily helpful insight when you run across a squeal that you just don't know how to refute and you want to ignore the pig. You know, I like when people can refute their squeals. I like when they can ignore the pig. But sometimes all you know is that the pig is saying something and it seems very compelling. And so just the fact that it is saying something should remind you of your power. That was extraordinarily helpful to me. It would buy me the time that I needed to figure out what the refutation was. When I didn't know how the pig was lying, I knew that it was helpless and I was the powerful one, and therefore I could ignore it. And that's the whole insight. I don't know that we can talk about this for a half an hour, but it was an extraordinary part of my journey, and I just wanted to see if you had any thoughts about it.
My first thought is, are you sure it's not in the book? Because I have been saying that for years and quoting you.
Really?
Yeah. The fact that the pig is talking means it can't get what it wants except through you.
Okay, maybe it's in the book. I just haven't been talking about it. It was funny.
Well, maybe it's not. I don't know.
I've read my own book about 6 times.
Okay, it's probably not in the book. We probably talked about it, and it was such a good insight, it stuck with me. I'll tell you what it reminds me of. So one of my favorite books in terms of usefulness and interest is called Never Split the Difference.
The negotiation book.
Yes. Yes. And one of the things he points out is like when people don't negotiate when they think they're in a really weak position. Like very often people feel like I have nothing to negotiate with. Mm-hmm. Like they have all the cards. And he points out if that were true, they wouldn't be negotiating with you. There's something you have that they want, yes. Or there's something you can do that they don't want you to do, or you have some sort of moral leverage over them that they are uncomfortable with. And therefore, don't discount your own power.
I see. That makes all the sense in the world. The pig is trying to negotiate with you. You're busy, and like it's posturing and puffing up its chest, and it's making you think that you're powerless to resist. But if that was true, it wouldn't be negotiating with you.
Right.
I love that. That makes all the sense in the world, which is why I said it in the book.
Yeah. Which is why everyone should buy the next edition of the book that has that sentence in it.
Hey, if anybody knows where that is in the book, please, can you comment on the blog post or in the forum or something?
You got to make the book bigger so that you can put the title on the spine. Because I had to go and like get some of that tape, the Brother tape maker, and cut it in half. And like, you got to make this book bigger.
I worked really hard to make it small. I worked really hard to get it down to, what is it, about 80 pages. Because when I studied persuasive copywriting, I learned that when you want to convince people, fewer words is better. Not so few that you leave things out that are significant, but the more succinct that the words are that you have to say, the more likely they are to be persuaded. Because people are lazy, they don't want to read that much. I'm prolific. I mean, if you look at some of my other books, I can write thousands of pages, but making a small book was a hard feat.
Right. All right. So are you ready for me to read to you from your book?
Did you find it?
Yes, I did.
Me.
So here's the bad news.
What?
The double bad news is that it's bold, all caps.
Dude. Have I seen that? I'll be 57 this year.
Yeah. So page 98 of the hardcover, the very fact the pig talks proves you are its jailer. It's completely powerless to feed itself, so its only hope for release is verbally convincing you to let it out of prison.
I remember writing those words. I remember that. Okay.
But you know what? It's a very important insight to remind people of, especially you.
Yeah, especially me. Old man authors, man. Okay, that's embarrassing. You know what I found happened? I've written 7 books now, right? I mean, it's really 6 because one of them is a book of interviews, which is kind of summarized. But I've really written 7 books, and sometimes I forget what's where. They're all really important. I know basically what the purpose of each book is, and it's been very helpful to have all the different books because then the people that really want to master the method, they can master the different pieces and parts. And I find that since I wrote the additional books, the clients that come to us, they're better and they make progress faster. But sometimes it's kind of a blur in my head. So
yeah. Well, from a reader's perspective, you're just writing for them sequentially. But from an author's perspective, we're just getting smarter or less dumb.
Yeah.
Right. I understand something that I didn't understand when I wrote the first book. And after working with 4,000 people, I now understand something. I better put it in the new book.
Well, because when you put a book out, you're having a dialogue with the marketplace, and then people come and they talk to you about it, and then you figure something else out and you put it in the new book. So when I can get through some of these other things in the business, I'll probably write 6 more books. And then I'll get on the phone with you all excited and say, Howie, guess what? I learned something new that I never wrote about before.
That's hilarious.
And that brings us to the end of today's broadcast of Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston. Now, if you'd like to find out more about the products and services Dr. Glenn offers to help you dramatically reduce your cravings and stop overeating in 90 days or less, please visit defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. That's defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. Thanks.